Well, good day. Nothing special about this video, basically just some common bear healing. Please excuse the fact that my UI is absolutely stuffed up and half my toolbar is cut off, and also the DPS on the side meter. I think at this point I don't really know how to work OBS. This is basically just a quick video just to show you, like, bears can get out a fair amount of DPS and also kind of get out some semi-decent heals. It's not crazy or anything, it's definitely not the greatest HPS. I mean, bears generally could compete with rune keepers in terms of HPS, although they have fairly low damage reduction, other than like one shout. That's only in bear form. But obviously, they bring a lot more to the table. They've got the 15% incoming damage, not all 100% uptime, but generally decent uptime, and then also they've got permanent Fizzmit uptime. Generally, bears just prefer captain healers. Mostly, or actually other bear healers as well, because of the incoming heals and the massive morale pools, because they've got obviously the 55% chance for the percentage heal. So generally the more they heal, the more chance it has to proc, the higher their HPS. The only problem they usually have is like the minstrel can obviously add the mitigations and the inspire fellows, damage reduction and all those sorts of things, and also obviously anthem of composure and whatever prowess, whatever you got. Runekeepers obviously have some sort of damage reduction, although I'm not 100% familiar with Runekeepers. But the bear just pretty much is mostly for higher DPS. So generally in the raid, you'd prefer maybe a minstrel and a bear, or a minstrel and an RK, or an RK and a bear, probably, something along those lines. Generally just because the bear will out HPS the minstrel generally. So in this case, generally, while trying to get out decent HPS, bears could, if they were in heavy armor, probably do between 20 to 30k DPS, and that's kind of a reasonable amount. I think in this video, I think I'm getting about 12 to 14k, and this is because obviously I've switched quite a lot of armor over to light, just because of the poor armoring options for bears. Generally, I think at this point I'm using shoulders and helm for the 5% outgoing healing set. But with the crafted helm, obviously it's a bit of a stupid one on my part. And then I think I've got the heavy boots and pants, the tier 1s from the T5s, and then light armor I've just got chest, and I think I've got heavy gloves. But as you can see, it's nothing really important. I would switch to my 2 one-handers for healing, but in this case the tank really seemed to be on top of things, so I just kept my 2-hander out just for a bit of extra DPS. So initially at the start of the fight, you obviously want to have your mark on the tank and try and stack the 5% incoming heals, which is basically just the more you heal, them will basically tier up to the tier 5. Obviously get your mark Beorning on, and then just basically keep bees on 100% uptime, and then armor crush. Always get unlucky. As soon as you try relentless more, the tank will always move out of range, although in this case I think I'm still beating him. And generally it's pretty easy rotation. It's you're pretty much using the mend and the encourage and roar as you switch between the two lines, and then every second time you can probably get the bellow and the hearten, or whatever they proc to. I can't remember the names when you switch between all the lines. Bear's actually got quite a fair decent tank ability, and I'd actually really like to see more bear tank in. And also their DPS isn't that bad, but obviously not really that comparable to even champions, although you could maybe pick a bad hunter. In this case I also have the redirect 70% of heals traded, and that's just like for a little bit of Johnson measuring usually on a captain, so you can get some crazy HPS and just show off and prove minstrels are silly. But yeah, also another thing to note, I have the shield from the stun break traded. That obviously procs on a smaller degree to your target that you're linked with your mark. So don't forget to use that every now and then. you know, just to obviously put a bit of a shield on the tank. Another thing to note is the way most of your allies will be set up, you'll have the damage in bear form on your healing and your DPS and allies. Also too, for me, I have the damage of human form. So all your abilities that can be used in either line, like your bees and your vicious claws for cut and animation and those sorts of things, generally would be better to be used in bear form. You just squeeze out a little bit more DPS, but obviously you don't want to run the risk of running too low on wrath and not having heals available. So it's just kind of a balancing act, and obviously having some of those pots handy if you do drop down a little bit low or if you die, so when you come back up you can instantly get a bit more wrath.